And welcome back, everybody. Excited to be back. The Old Gab Box podcast and radio show. We're not home very often, but when we are, we take advantage of our next guest. We'll introduce in just a moment. All this brought to you by Casa de Campo, our friends down in the Dominican Republic. It's casadecampo.com. Best golf resort in the Caribbean. I'm telling you, and Teeth of the Dog, Pete Dye's absolute gem. There's 4 courses there. Teeth of the Dog undergoing a redo, will reopen in December. 7 holes right there on the ocean. It is glorious. So check it out, casadecampo.com. All right, our next guest, I've known Chick Hernandez for a long, long time. We used to rub elbows over at a little course in Augusta, Georgia, covering the Masters. And now Chick is a star up in the Maryland, D.C. area for WUSA-TV Channel 9. I follow Chick because I think he's great and he's funny. And he's a football fan. And he joins us now. Chick, great to see you, my friend. It is football season, right? That's what I hear.
Let's go back to Teeth of the Dog. I want a free pass. That's what I want. That's all
I can get you one. I can get you one.
Yeah, it's we're almost, Doug. We're almost at football. You know, training camp is a grind for both the players, coaches, and the media because we sit in tents and it's 99 degrees. We get water.
Right.
That's what we get. We get water, and we eat a lot of Wawa. So yeah, no, I'm ready for the season for sure.
Yeah, I've been watching your stuff every day from Commanders training camp. And obviously every NFL team has storylines that are here and there. And McLaurin, the great wide receiver who was so phenomenal last year, still kind of a holdout. He has 1 year left on his deal, but wants a new deal. And I mean, we're like 2 weeks from the start of the season, Chick. What's the deal? You think he'll be in the fold or what?
I've said the last 2 months, I still think he'll be in the fold. It was kind of a bizarre scene. He was at a local car dealer and doing a commercial shoot, and he just unleashed his frustration with the organization, which is so un-Terry-like. But yeah, I think it'll get done. I'm not sure of the numbers. Everybody's going to pontificate and guess as to what the numbers that he's asking for. But he's top 3 a catcher in traffic in the league, which makes Jaden Daniels, the young quarterback, very, very happy. Even though Jaden can put it in spots, and I've watched it in camp now. He's put it in spots. I just don't know how he's getting it there. And coaches, I just talked to the 2 coordinators because I call preseason games, TV play-by-play, so we get a chance to talk with them, by ourselves. And I asked both Cliff Kingsbury and Joe Witt Jr., the 2 coordinators, what about the quarterback? And Joe Witt's like, hold on a second. I've never seen a kid do this, but there are guys who are dropping balls also. So the leverage factor, everybody thought Terry didn't have a whole lot because he's under a contract, asking for maybe top tier money. And because every drop, we all just going to go, Terry would have caught that. Terry would have caught that. I'm sure the coaches are thinking the same thing.
Well, he's special. There's no doubt about it. A deal will get done. I know these things just take time with the salary cap, et cetera.
Sure.
Jaden Daniels. I mean, all right, Chick. I mean, I got Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, top 3, whatever order you want to call. Patrick Mahomes coming off kind of a so-so season for him, but still upper echelon. Jared Goff, who I think is terrific. Jalen Hurts, my man from Alabama, Super Bowl champion. You got to put him up there. But does Jaden, where's he ranked there, Chick? Top 10? Certainly, right?
Absolutely top 10 with a huge, huge upside. This is a guy who obviously won the Heisman and basically asked the commanding, Dan Quinn, Adam Peters, do you guys have VR? Sorry for I got some bugs over here. And they both kind of looked at each other like, what do you mean? Virtual reality, do you have that program? And they're like, no, but we'll get it because we're going to draft you. And so he and Cliff Kingsbury run that thing at a speed and a half so that by the time game rolls around, everything slows down for the young kid. And he is just his mind is so much stronger than anything else. He's got the physical talents, obviously, but his mind is ridiculous. And he will go out, and he's still doing it. 6 a.m., he'll go into the practice bubble and walk through by himself. And so that when he shows up for practice, everything is there, right? And his teammates know it. The teammates get it. And the talents speak for themselves. His arm is insane. And his running, we had a guy named Robert Griffin III here who didn't. He was a track athlete in a football uniform. He didn't know how to get down, didn't know how to protect himself. The way it was described to me is that Jaden Daniels runs like a downhill skier. He just kind of picks his spots. He took a shot last year because he didn't see the guy from behind. But other than that, just a special talent. Stated, humble, beginning to get more comfortable in his celebrity, but he's still driven by wanting to be better. And they had a burgundy and gold scrimmage. Dan Quinn put the 2 ones against each other, and Jaden didn't didn't play well. He was off. A lot of throws were uncharacteristically off. And we asked Coach yesterday, DQ, he didn't look so sharp. And he goes, yeah, he didn't. And we had to talk about it. And he came out the next day in practice that you guys, media, didn't see, and it was on. He was upset. So special talent, top 10, with a tremendous upside. And if they keep putting people around him, and they're protecting him now, Larry Tunsil is in there at that line to protect him, I think the sky's the limit.
You're talking about these FCC guys, which brings our listeners, it perks up their ears. I interviewed Jaden FCC Media Days years ago when he was at LSU, and I was impressed. I thought he was very mature for a young man. And I saw your interview with him on the practice field. There's some guys who just seem to have it, right? Mm-hmm. And he seems to have that it factor, whatever that it factor is. And I think what that does, it attracts his teammates. It's special. Boy, I just really think the Commanders, man, they got a special guy right there. He's unbelievable.
Doug, they nailed it. And I remember last year, who was it? It was a DB. This guy here, he comes in as a rookie, and he's already in the building. He's first in the building. That was, first in the building kind of thing. But when the players came into the facility, Jaden already called them by their names and their nicknames.
Wow.
He knew everybody. He knew every single guy. And they were like, oh, wait a minute. How's that possible? But this is the way this guy is. In this day and age of the top athletes who are trying to brand themselves, he's not so concerned with that. That's going to happen. He's almost forced to do some things, right? He's just, I want to get better, and I want to win a championship. And that's something that certainly this area hasn't seen after decades of darkness under Dan Snyder. Decades.
Well, yeah. It just seems like there's so many positives around the Commanders with the new stadium in the offing, the new owner who is from the area and absolutely loves the history of the Redskins, now the Commanders. Mm-hmm. And I love your coach. Listen, Dan Quinn's an SEC guy from Florida, and I don't know how they lost that Super Bowl when he was with the Falcons, but nevertheless.
We don't bring that up much.
Yeah, but he seems like a guy who is his maturation process from D coordinator to head coach to D coordinator back to head coach just seems like he's on the verge of something really special in his career.
When he lost the job in Atlanta, he went back and did self-evaluation, and not just like, okay, what did I do wrong? He started to seek out coaches and players about what was good, what was bad about what I did, and kept a journal. And he's kept a journal. And then he goes to camps, and then he's the DC at Dallas, and he's looking at how guys do things, and it's all journals. And he comes back, and he's just kind of been done a lot of stuff right at every corner. I'll tell you, we sit down every Monday after a game. We're the broadcast television partner with the Commanders. So I get a Monday sit down with DQ every Monday. And the final one, after they lost to the title game to Philadelphia, we've got 3 cameras. You'll know this. We have 3 cameras to our side, and I'm just talking to him right here. And at the end, I said, I got to tell you, as we say goodbye here until next year, media feel the respect now when we walk on the premises. We didn't have that for 2 decades. And I have to tell you, it doesn't change the way that we cover you, but just know that we know. As I say that, I feel this lump in my throat. Like, uh-oh. So I kind of turned my head for a second away from the camera, come back, and I finished my thought. And he says, man, right on. I can't wait to get this thing going again and rocking. We're going to do this better next year. He's talking about our little segment. He's always like, how do we get better? And, all right, Coach, thanks a lot. Cameras go off, and he looks at me, and he gives this look like, you son of a... I go, what, Coach? He goes, you started getting a lump. I started getting a tear. I can't cry on TV. This is ridiculous. So it was a really cool moment. He's a really cool dude. He's an authentic dude. That's what it is. That's what his players are feeling. And for the first time in, again, decades, free agents want to come play. Literally Von Miller told me this past week, I heard the stories about DQ. They're all true. And that's just amazing.
Wow. Yeah, I saw your interview with Von Miller, too, by the way. And to be honest with you, Chick, I said, oh, my goodness, Von Miller's now with the Commanders? I didn't realize because he's been bouncing around.
We said the same thing because Adam Peters, the GM, is so tight-lipped. There's no leaks in that organization that all of a sudden we get a press release. Von Miller now a Washington Commander. We're like, what? That was so out of the blue, but DQ recruited him. DQ recruited Michael Gallup, a wide receiver who was retired last year, and called him up and said, hey, are you really done? And he's like, maybe not.
Wow, good stuff. Hey, tell me this, Noah. I hear the passion in your voice, and I've known you for a long time, and I know your history, and I know you've worked in that area for a long time. You covered the Redskins, now the Commanders, Maryland, the whole 9 yards, right? And I see your segments when Dan and these guys, hey, Chick. I mean,
Yeah.
you're entrenched, man. And I know as a reporter, you try to be balanced, I guess, maybe is what I'm trying to say. But,
Sure.
man, I feel your passion, Chick. I know this is a special moment for you. And you've been in your career as long as mine. This has got to be special, right?
34 years I've covered that franchise, and I've come clean to all the Washington fans. I did not grow up a Washington fan. I was a Dallas Cowboy because the first game I ever saw, Roger Staubach's first comeback, right? And
Right.
Drew Pearson was my idol. I grew the afro out, all of it. I walked pigeon-toed when I played high school football and junior college football. I'm not pigeon-toed, but I walked that way. So, but the passion comes from I want to. My mentor, Glenn Brenner, late great Glenn Brenner at Channel 9, way back in the day, was one
Yeah.
of the funniest humans on the planet. He made a rainy day seem sunny. I like to entertain, and so I look for the small things. I don't root for Washington other than I want the individual guys to do well. It's much better to cover a winning squad, as I found out
Yes.
last year. So that's different,
Yes.
right? 2012 RG3's rookie season, that was kind of cool. This is something different. And because I'm very honest with the players and the coaches. You know how it is in the interview process. I get a chance, maybe 30 seconds, 60 seconds to warm up before we do a one-on-one sit-down interview, and I've been successful at that. And I ask questions that aren't X's and O's. I'm calling the game the other night, New England Patriots, a preseason game. 30 guys didn't play for the Commanders. Kept them out. So I'm sitting in the end zone just kind of looking around, just kind of getting my bearings. And Zach Ertz, the tight end, walks by. He goes, "Hey, man, make sure that you talk up the tight end group." I said, "Well, you're not playing." And he kind of looked at me like, "You know what I mean." So there's a relationship there. I am passionate about my job, and I'm passionate about wanting to make the viewer and the player, I want them to understand who these people are a little bit. It's not just me talking at you. I want it a with kind of thing. And so yeah, I'm 3 decades plus doing this. As you well know, you form some bonds with some
Sure.
folks, and they're easy to. The culture in the building is, as they say, is so different than it has been under Dan Snyder, that the fact that they treat you with respect is a huge thing. When we walked on the premises the last 2 decades, you kind of tippy-toed around, and people look at you and go, what do you, and now
Right.
it's like, what can I help you with? It's different.
Yeah, so it's good stuff. And listen, for our listeners and the people watching, I follow Chick on Instagram, and he edits his clips and puts them up. And when you put your segments up from the desk, you
Yes.
crack your fellow anchors up. I mean, you're a funny guy, obviously, and you have some great one-liners, but you can really, I guess that's your goal, right? To crack up your fellow anchor people there?
That was the thing that my mentor, Glenn Brenner, said. If they're laughing, the viewer's laughing, right?
Right.
And as I was told, I'm from here. I grew up here. I was only away 3 years when I met you when I was in Augusta, Georgia. And so when I hit the set the first time 2 years ago, you don't know what you're getting. I don't know what are they going to get me? But after a week, it was like people were like, "Holy moly!" Like you three, and then the weather guy Topper said, "You four on the set is gold." I'm like, "That's awesome." And then someone explained to me, my former exec producer said, "I love working with," and they're Lorenzo Hall and Leslie Foster, and he said to me, "Chick, it's like flying first class with those two," and it was
That's
such a
great.
great description. So yes, they get me. You know how it is on the anchor desk. A lot of times, news guys will all of a sudden just kind of just head turn and look on their phone, and they don't pay attention. These guys pay attention because they know if they're not, I'm going to call them out,
Yes. Oh, yes.
right? And
Yes.
so it's a great experience to be where I'm at, where I interned back in 1986, to now be sitting in that chair. It's insane. I never thought this would happen, and I will retire hopefully at some point at
Good
Channel
for
9.
you. Good
Yeah,
for you.
yeah.
Hey, before I let you go, Mike Locksley, head coach at Maryland. Of course,
Mhm.
he has some Alabama ties. Was coaching with Coach Saban there on some really
Sure.
good Alabama teams. What do you think about Maryland this year? Your college champion. We got to get a little college football talking here.
Yeah, I
Jim.
mean, Locks is a guy I covered him. He was the OC under Ralph Friedgen at Maryland, and then to come back
Yes.
here, he's been here 7 years, and I'm crossing my fingers. They've been they get decimated by the worst injuries. It's not an excuse, but like it's just out of the blue. You know, a couple of years ago we had 5 quarterbacks and one was a linebacker. It doesn't make any sense.
That's never good.
That's never good. Hey, that guy looks kind of big. Yeah, he's a linebacker. He's your quarterback. Yeah. So I'm hopeful. He's a tremendous motivator. I think he's kind of gotten comfortable in his own skin and being a more of a leader. And we'll see. He's got one of the top recruits at quarterback, and Malik. We're gonna find out this year. I think this is now they got a whole new, a new athletic director, so it's a whole different relationship, and we're gonna see how that all works out. We got new athletic director, got a new basketball coach, and Buzz. So
I know.
Yeah, it's some interesting times in College Park for sure. Again, a place where I matriculated. I just learned that word. Where I matriculated at Maryland way back in the day with the Len Bias years. That's old.
Yeah. It is funny, though, because, of course, my home in Alabama, where it's all college sports.
Mm-hmm.
And in your area, obviously, professional sports takes the top step there. So it's interesting how you because I know you'll be with the Commanders all year. I mean, that's the storyline.
All year, travel with them. You said professional sports. I'm not sure the Wizards can be considered a professional team.
I forgot. That's right. You have a basketball team. I forgot.
Yeah. I'm going to get in trouble for saying that, but that's all right. I'm the only sportscaster in Washington, D.C. who did not show one Wizards highlight last year.
Well, there weren't a lot of highlights to show.
No, I wear that proudly. And the Nationals are a joke right now. So, it's a football town. But as Ralph Friedgen proved when he was rolling, you can get a lot of support and get folks out to the stadium if you're winning. Mike's got to get that done.
Yeah, he does. And we'll see what happens. Yeah, I remember covering the Fridge back in the day, doing some ESPN games.
Yeah.
And he had a nice offensive coordinator. He's now the head coach at Penn State.
Mm-hmm.
James
Franklin.
Yeah.
I played golf with Ralph many years ago. He lives right next to Frank Beamer at Lake Oconee there and Reynolds Plantation and all. And I just remember Ralph was a very curmudgeon-y dude.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
But when he talked about his players, got very emotional. So we're playing golf. And his wife, Gloria, she's like a gnat. She just flies. She didn't want to hear all the old stories.
Right.
And so Ralph was hitting the ball somewhere just absolutely. And he said, Chick, what am I doing now? I'm a golf addict. I play a lot. And I said, Coach, just stop looking at the ball. Just count one before you look up. So he counts one after his swing, and he goes, where is it? And I said, wait for it, but look down the middle of the fairway. And it finally lands, and he just turns to me. Here's the head coach of a football team. He was so excited, and I'm like, did I just teach you something? He's like, I think you did. Very cool.
Chick, man, what a history you have. You got to write a book, my friend. You got to write a book.
It is ironically you say that, but it is I think about time.
Yes.
I've had several folks say that. I've got some ridiculous stories.
I know you do.
But it'll be a book. The title would be Put It in Her Hand, and the basis for that is, it sounds funny, but it is, I was raised by a single white mother in Washington, D.C., and she taught me about racism out of the gate at a Baskin Robbins and an event that I will never forget. And the title is Put It in Her Hand. That'll be how we start this thing. And but I don't like writing. I don't like sitting in front of a computer. That's going to be a problem.
Well, I mean, AI and everything now, Chick. You can just talk. You like to talk, and
good point.
It'll do it all for you.
That's exciting.
Yes, it is.
I like that. You're good.
It's all easy. I just want to know. I want to get a free copy because I don't want to be one. Hey, Doug, it's available on Amazon. It's like, come on, Chick. You got to autograph and send me a free copy.
I will do. If I ever get this thing done, I will do that.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Well, I appreciate that. All right, buddy. Good luck with the Commanders.
Thank you.
I mean, your Cowboys, I don't know. The Giants, I think, will be better. And, of course, the Eagles. I think the Eagles are awesome.
No longer my Cowboys now.
That's right.
That. Okay. Once they fired Landry as a youngster, I was done.
Once they fired Landry, oh my goodness, that was a long time ago.
I know. I was done. And I was done with him. I was done. And then Landry came into Augusta selling his book, ironically, and to sit down with Tom Landry and talk.
That'd be nice.
Kidding me? Yeah, it was ridiculous.
Yeah.
So no, yes, but we'll get that straight.
All right, Chick. Best of luck, my friend. We'll catch up with you sometime during football season. But in the meantime, I'll be watching all your clips. So just
thank you.
Keep posting.
I will.
Don't ever stop.
Don't ever stop.
Don't ever stop posting. That sounds kind of funny to say. We'll see you, my friend. Cheers.
All right, man.
All right,
Appreciate
buddy.
it.
Bye.